In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that's pretty serious, and I think it's happening more often than we actually talk about. But basically, how do you go out there and end workplace bullying for good? How do you end the toxic work environment that you're working in? Sometimes it's not even so much as somebody's particularly bullying you. It's just that you might have just a really ineffective manager in the job that we work in. And unfortunately, in tech, sometimes people lose their shit. And when they have a bad day, that means they're going to have a bad meeting with you, or they're going to send you a bad Slack message, or they send you a bad email, which turns out you end up having a bad week or weekend, or like you might even have a bad month because you're holding all of that in and you don't know how to really get out of it, because it's not like anybody else is going to provide you with a solution. I want you to take away from this video that there are strategies that not only deal with the problem immediately at a tactical short-term level, but what's going to work out in a long-term strategic sense so we can end this once and for all. Short-term solution, though, is always just to stop the bleeding and just to go ahead and make it past another 30 days. Long-term solution is to put this thing back into your rearview mirror forever. If you don't know me, my name is Rich. I'm the founder of multiple programs to help people make a transition into technology. But at the same time, before I started doing this, I was also working as a tech recruiter for 3 years in California. So not only did I help people get the job that you are currently on or trying to transition to, I've also seen a lot of the effects of what life was like after they got the job that I helped them get. And then for the past 7.5 years, I've been helping people make this transition, right? So let's go ahead and talk about it. Step number one is minimize the problem. Whatever problem that you're dealing with right now, minimize that with extreme gratitude. You might have a crazy boss that's like, why is this not getting done yet? You might have somebody that's just constantly throwing workload onto your plate when you're already working all day, all night, all weekend. You might have another coworker that's just a very difficult person to work with. Unfortunately, part of this job is to go ahead and manage expectations or manage the egos of other stakeholders. Sometimes you need something from another department. Let's just say there's a UX designer or a QA or somebody on the business side that's just very difficult for you to deal with, or just dealing with a very incompetent person where you're wondering how the hell did they even get the job. I'm getting excited even just talking about it right now. How the hell did you even get your job? I should do your job. How are you even getting paid? Why are you even getting paid more than me, right? The first thing that you have to go ahead and do is you have to minimize the problem with extreme gratitude. And one of the ways that I do it, and it's helped me and it's helped a lot of people that I've helped make a successful transition, as you can see with the other testimonials in our program and on our website, is you have to look at your problem is that it's not that effing serious. There's bigger problems. And I really love this YouTube channel. It's called Goalcast. I've compiled a YouTube playlist with 40 plus YouTube videos and shorts, and I just have them all into a playlist because sometimes, I mean, this shit happens to me too. I just need that thing playing down the list, because if I start thinking, if the voice in my head starts getting too loud and I accidentally get into an argument with the wrong person, and let's just say there's other people that's there, you have to understand that even if you are right and you are not in the wrong, when you're coming off as the person that's losing their shit, you look like you're the crazy one. So even if you're right, even if you're the person that's not wrong, if the way that you're saying it like that is not going to help you, it's not going to help you with your situation. So I minimize my problem with like, yo, that is a very big problem right there. You know, this is actually a special forces soldier, served our country, came back, unfortunately got into an accident over there, quadruple amputee, and how he had to go out there and figure out how to rebuild his life. And the first thing he's like, I started setting small goals for myself. I started to have to try to figure out how to feed myself. I started talking to other soldiers at the VA hospital, and just trying to get them right. And I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, if I had to come and, you know, God forbid, that's the kind of situation. I don't know if I don't think a lot of us would have the mental fortitude. So I have to go ahead and think about, and the way that I do it is I utilize a lot of YouTube playlists, because if I write it down somewhere in a notebook or like an Apple Note somewhere, I might not be able to get to it fast enough. I have to have it like on a playlist where I can access it, because if I'm no good to myself or to anybody else, or I get into arguing with the wrong person, I have to take a step back. I have to immediately take a situation that's getting out of control in my head, and I have to go out there and scrunch it down, because tech unfortunately, we're navigating a very volatile marketplace. And it's not only affecting the people that are trying to get the job, it's also affecting the people that's still on the job right now. Like, even if you just gotten the job, or even if luckily you weren't impacted during these layoffs, it's a crazy time to be working in any industry. It's not like tech is the only one taking a hit. Finance, consulting, across all sectors, there is a hit. So step one is minimize the problem with extreme gratitude. Feel grateful for your problems. It's not that serious. My problems are not that big. The second thing that you want to go ahead and do now is, once you've actually been able to calm yourself down and start thinking about, okay, how am I going to get myself out? Transition from the victim to the boss identity. This is actually what I've noticed with the most successful people in tech or in business is what they do. They take this problem and they turn it into a major opportunity. And there is this one movie that I really show that I really like. It's like Miles Teller. I think the show is called The Offer. And he's trying to basically, it's the true story of how Hollywood tried to make the movie The Godfather, which we all know and I think love. I don't think there's anybody I know that hasn't watched it. But of course, the real Italian mafia is like, we don't want you to make this movie. This is going to go ahead and make our people look like animals. So don't make this movie. Go make another movie. And he has to go out there and convince them, like, not only am I going to make this movie, I think you're going to want me to make this movie, right? You have to play that game for yourself. You have to transition from the victim to the boss mindset. How do I go out there and monetize? Because unfortunately, your job just isn't your job anymore. You're doing a lot more than, right now everybody's doing 5 to 8 people's work. A lot of people's going on beyond the scope of, like, this wasn't what I was, I do this. Like, I'm hired to do this job. I'm hired to be, no. People have gotten laid off, so sometimes you might have a software engineer that's actually doing some marketing work. You just never know. Like, it's all hands on deck situation. So you have to think to yourself, there's a solution to how to deal with this problem. When you start going into a victim mentality, you start thinking about, why me? Why is this happening to me? And when you start asking yourself that question, you start thinking, why is this only happening to me? What you're really saying to yourself, and sometimes you don't even notice it, and I'm not trying to pretend like I'm above or beyond anybody. I go through this shit myself too. I'm a human being. I got to deal with a lot of bullshit as a business owner. You start thinking to yourself, like, you start thinking to yourself, why me and why only me? You're coming at it from a victim behavior. So what ends up happening is, like, you think there's like a better solution. Like, maybe there's no, it's happening across all jobs. Stick what you're doing right now. Okay. Like, when you start thinking about why it's me, that means there's no solution. Nobody's gone through this before you. Nobody's going to go through this after you. Nobody's going through what you're going through right now. It's like, no, this is unfortunately happening to me. And it's definitely happened before. So there's other people, there's going to be a lot of people that would have dealt with this. And there's a lot of people that would deal with this a lot better. So there's got to be a way out. And I'm going to find that way out. That's the way how you have to look at the problem. Step 3, convert your pain and your obstacles into liquid income. I actually have a little screenshot here of RG, which is like, I love this song. Like, for those of you that like EDM, I love EDM, right? It puts me in a total boss mindset very quickly, because, like, I'm like, challenge accepted, let's get it. I have a whole playlist, like, of just songs that put me into a boss mentality, because if I start going into that victim mentality, it starts going nowhere fast. Step 3, convert your pain into obstacles, and obstacles into liquid income. A lot of singers have won Grammys making a very sad song from a very sad time in their life. Sometimes, like, actors and directors, they'll make a really, like, sad movie. I mean, you ever heard of, like, Russian literature, like Korean dramas on Netflix? Monetize off of it. Take that pain that you have, monetize it. I will show you how in if you access the school link. Number 4, review your past wins. This is in no particular order, and I just dropped this thing literally like freestyling. When you start looking at your problems right now, it's very easy sometimes for you to start thinking about, like, there's no way out. When you think about no way out, there's, like, no solution. So you have to think about all the times in your life. There was a lot of challenges that I went through in college just to even pay for school to even be here. And if I went back in time, it's like, oh shit, there's all this stuff that I could have done. If you review all of your past challenges, you'll realize something at that very moment in time, you didn't realize that there was a solution, but you just took vicious, consistent, and relentless action, and eventually you figured it out. So I want you to remind yourself of all those times where you felt like total shit, where you felt like there's no way out. You wanted to punch a wall. Maybe you did punch a wall. Maybe you're very self-destructive, and somehow, somewhere, you got a freaking aha moment. Just know, like, You're probably going to go through that. I'm not telling you this like time box it. I'm only going to be pissed off for 1 hour. Whenever I go through a tough time, I tell myself I'm going to give myself the permission of 30 to 45 minutes to I don't, and if I need to, I'll just take the hour, but I'll just literally set the timer on my iPhone, and I'm going to be like, for the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to acknowledge how it is that I feel, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure it out. Step 5, what I tell people to do, what's worked for me is like, have fun with it. Tell myself, I always say to myself out loud too, challenge being accepted. You want to see what I can do? I'm going to show you what I can do. Have fun with it, because you will miss it someday. All the big obstacles is going to bring bigger opportunities. Think Leo Messi leaving Barcelona just to go out there and win 2 Copa Americas and then also a World Cup. Think Tom Brady leaving the Patriots to go out there and win the Super Bowl, right? Think Alex Hormozi and his fitness business, like during COVID, and how it almost was over for him, and he made one of the biggest comebacks ever. Every big setback is going to lead to a very big comeback. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the process. Because when I take a look back at my biggest challenges, like how we navigated this business during COVID, or when I first started this business with absolute nothing, I mean, I don't want to go back to those times, but I kind of missed it because it forced me to be the most formidable version of Richard Chen. And I take a look at it as like a fighter getting ready for like training camp, or like, you know, a team that's getting ready for the big playoffs. Like, we're going to be so dialed in and laser focused. Like, you're pushing yourself to the absolute limit. But on the other side of it, you come out so much bigger, you come out so much better, and you come out so much stronger. Number 6 is whatever it is that you're dealing with right now, negotiate win-win solutions by appealing to greed. We have to stop operating with this mindset that like people, obviously they shouldn't treat you the way that they do, and nobody should have to work in a toxic work environment, but people aren't going to stop treating you this way. And if you think that there is a place, I'm not saying anything's impossible, but in an economy as volatile as ours right now, it's probably going to be pretty difficult for you to find a place that's going to be, it's like the easy job or the chill job in a war zone. Like, if you're on the front lines, you're on the front lines. And we're in war right now. So if you want somebody to stop doing what it is that they're doing, negotiate a win-win solution for them. And I always look at it as like, and I got to deal with bullshit just like everything else. And people want more and more and more and more and more. Another thing that I do in terms of like doing win-win is like, I just give it. I give in, but I have the mentality, I trick my mind that it's actually in my benefit. It's happening for me, and it's not happening something to me. I switch from that victim behavior to the boss identity. And, you know, that's how I come at any negotiation. You know, one of the reasons why we get so many people the jobs that we do is the resources that we offer is just so dramatically superior in quantity and quality compared to our competition. And I'll let you in on a little secret about how we're going to help you get this job or a much better job in your field is that, you know, if I have to like deal with a student or a member in the program and it's just like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And it's just like, if I come at it with the victim behavior of like, yo, this is a business, we got margins, you know, and the other programs aren't doing it, then I don't want to do it because it's like I'm coming from this place of like, this is about money. But when I come at it, it's like, yo, but if we do it and other programs don't do it, it's actually going to help us make more money. And it's actually going to help people get jobs faster. It's actually going to give them more skills. That's why our programs are just so successful. But the argument that I have to win with myself is letting go of the pride of like, oh, I'm taking an L. And a lot of times you will see in business, just like how you'll watch this movie, it's like the director's like, I don't want to do this. Like, yo, we like once the movie goes up, like we're all gonna be making money from this, right? Like you guys have to recognize we're on the same team. Like doing this is gonna help put more money and food on the table for all of us. Like you have to like come at that mindset. And that's why you have to have a boss mindset. If you have a very W-2 mindset on a job, one of my bosses always told me, treat your job like it's your own business and treat your business like it's a job. A lot of people treat their job like a job. He's like, they don't go anywhere. If you take a look at the people at the top, they treat that job like it's their own business. And that's why they figure out all the solutions that they do, because when you're a boss, you have to figure it out. He's like, and a lot of bosses fail because when they own the business, they think they can do whatever they want. They show up whenever they want. They take off work whenever they want. You wouldn't show up to a job like that. On a job, you'd show up at 8 a.m. sharp. You know, you would do this. You would have meetings. You would have accountability. You would have monthly reviews. You'd have weekly reviews and all that. Like, you have to go ahead and shift from like this is going to be too personal to like, no, this is actually going to make the bank account bigger. This is actually going to drive more revenue for the business. This is actually going to get more raises for the team. I don't think I'm losing. I actually think that I'm winning. But I notice a lot of people, like sometimes in tech, you'll have like software engineering not cooperating with product management, or like the most common fight, which is the dumbest combat zone of all in tech, is sales competing with marketing. They are more on the same team than they would like. They are counterparts, right? But sales, you'll see salespeople compete with marketing people all the time, right? So this is actually another song that I really like, "Rap Superstar" by Cypress Hill, and they have this commentary in the video with Eminem. He's like, no matter what you just been through, you always have to be right. You always have to be on the up and up. You always have to have a little bit of that smile. Kind of put on a show for people, slap hands with people. You have to always act right. And it's true, because like in business, it's vicious out there. Like bullying doesn't stop at school. I think it only gets way worse in the real business world, because when people can flex their muscle at you, they do it. Because some sick people out there, they just have a power complex, and it happens. Um, Step 7, watch this video daily and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You got to stretch this muscle daily. This isn't like, number one, I'm actively promoting my channel because I should. Number two is like, you are where you're at right now mentally because you're telling yourself the wrong story. And you have to understand, you're telling yourself the wrong story multiple times a day, or even decades of your life. Some people tell themselves they can't do it, they're never going to be successful, they're never going to make this amount of money. And it largely comes from, unfortunately, our parents. Maybe they meant well, like starting your own business, like it's going to fail, blah, 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 all this kind of crap, right? Like, in order for you to overtake how it is that you feel, you have to go ahead and listen to a better narrative more, because you're telling yourself something that's really bad, that's hurting your mental health at a very high frequency and at a real high velocity. It is getting louder and it is getting more vicious over and over again. That's why you're feeling like shit. Number 8, I would say join the school community. The link is in the description, and get involved with our community of other professionals in tech just like yourself. And the reason for that is sometimes your friends aren't going to understand what you're going through right now. You come to them with your problems. You go to your boyfriend or your girlfriend with your problems, and you're like, that doesn't sound that bad to me, or like they don't really understand what it is that you're going through because they're not in it. Even the people, like, because you need a solution. Maybe somebody else created a solution for that problem. And that's actually where a lot of the root of the suffering is like, you feel like you just got to take it. And that level of powerlessness, unfortunately, messes with you, because it's just like you don't see a way out. If you're an athlete and you're trying to recover from an injury and you just sustain a knee injury, it's like, okay, let's rehab it. So what's the game plan? Icing it 4 hours a day or whatever, laser steaming or like whatever it is, and we got to do physical therapy. There's a whole game plan. Like, it's going to be a long road to recovery, but like right now it's like you don't have a game plan to get out, so you feel like this is just going to be the rest of my life. I just have to take it, and I guess I should be grateful because I have a bed and I have food in the refrigerator and I make decent amount of money, or like it could be worse. I could be working construction, but like that doesn't help you because that's just fake gratitude. And it doesn't change the fact that the next day that you deal with it, you see a Slack message from that person that's bullying you, your anxiety level strikes up. And remember, them like making you feel like crap can take away as much as 6 to 8 hours of productivity from you. So even if you're not doing anything, you're not able to go out there and fully rest because you're stressed out, right? Step 9, create a narrative that serves you and that resonates with you, and you have your own mental playlist. Like, ultimately, all of my playlists are like references for you. But just like a music playlist, I can't run. I'm a really competitive runner, in terms of just lengthwise, because I get the runner's high, and it makes me feel better, and then like I can go back to doing whatever it is that I need to do. But the first couple of songs I start off with gets me like kind of in the zone, right? Like if you run, like you never really want to do it. And it's like you kind of get in the zone, and then once you get in the zone, it starts getting painful, and it's just like maybe you set the marker at like 2 miles, 3 miles. That last part of that distance, that last little stretch is where you really start killing yourself. I save my best, most intense songs that's going to work out for me right there. So sometimes what you're dealing with is like a merely mile 3 versus sometimes it's a very severe 10. You have to have your own mental playlist, and you have to keep playing it every single day, because remember, Like, it's never ever going to stop. The last thing that I really want to go ahead and tell you is step 10 is like start a side hustle, reach out to me, create a secondary income stream. Um, there was originally 13 steps. I narrowed it down to 3. The reason why you're taking this shit from this person in the first place is because you need the money. You need the money. This is your probably one and only income stream, or this is your biggest income stream. You need to have more income because right now you're in a war. Why do you have to deal with these jerks? Why are you even in this situation? You want to know why? Because you need the money. That's it. If it wasn't for the money, you would have walked out. Let's be real. If it wasn't for the money, you would have walked out, right? So if you could have gotten out of this shit, you would have. So join the school link, okay, and start creating your secondary and third and fourth and fifth income streams. So if somebody comes at you like that and tries to violate you, you have the ammunition now to shoot back. Say, I don't need this shit. I don't. I absolutely don't. I hope these strategies work for me. They've worked for a lot of people, a lot of other people that I know that's taking my programs, and hopefully it'll work for you. Get involved with school. I am very much looking forward to speaking with you later. If you are looking for help in making this transition right now, it can be very lonely. Get in contact with me. Like, send me a LinkedIn message and send me follow-up messages if I don't respond. And the reason for that is I get blown up. I get blown up by so many people on LinkedIn saying, because I put out so many YouTube videos, do I need another YouTube editor? So a lot of times people are thinking like, hey, you know, I sent you my resume, or like I really want to make a transition. Like, I've been trying to get a time to call you, and it's not like I'm ignoring you. I have too much business. It's like the number of people that are like, I can help blow up your Instagram, I can help blow up your YouTube. They are so vicious about the follow-up with me that sometimes y'all just get a little bit buried into the bottom. So don't think that I don't care. I care so much. I care so much that I think it's absolutely insane how many hours I put out for this work. But I started getting into this field to help people make a transition because I hated my job as a recruiter. And one of the reasons why, this is a completely different story, but one of the reasons why I got into tech recruiting was to try to find good tech companies to work for. And what I found out after 3 years was there's a lot of shitty tech companies out there. And even the ones that aren't shitty, at some point, they bring in, you know, a new CTO, or they bring in a new CEO, and they always will, or they might have additional investors. It can become shitty. Like, there's a time when that place was cool. You know, like we say that about San Francisco. Like, I remember when San Francisco was cool. Not to dub on San Francisco, but those of you who were in San Francisco in 2015, 2016, definitely 2012, 2013, know that it's a very different city now than it was there in that time. So get in contact with me. If I'm not able to go and follow up with you, definitely come back and follow up with me. But the fastest way to get in contact with me is join the school community. Talk to you later.